episode, we'll be visiting the Mithraeum in London.
This episode will be very different from last marking period, where we proved that Cardamandua is in fact Optima.
We will be traveling back in time to get a glimpse of what a day in the Temple of Mithras was like. The Mithraeum in London was originally built in 240 to 250 AD. The temple was modified several times before it was taken over by Bacchus in the 4th century, before it ultimately fell in the 5th century as London collapsed itself. The Roman cult itself was suppressed in 392 AD and then totally disappeared in the 5th century. Today, we take a closer look into the past.
And I'll be having equally as much fun here in the studio to guide you through your travels.
To the time machine!
To London!
Why are we wearing blue jeans and blue shirt? This doesn't matter.
It looks like we're in a cheesy documentary.
It's because we are.
Why are we in modern Britain? Jamie, help!
The time machine must be broken.
Whoopsies! I'm working on the problem. Hey, while you're there, can you pick up a postcard for me?
Good thing I keep a pound on me at all times.
Why does it smell like mint?
That's because it's been minted.
Anyways, while we're stuck in modern Britain, let's take some time to review the religion of Mithras.
This one-of-a-kind religion originated in Persia and is based off of the god Mithra, who was believed to have been born from a rock. They drank and ate in the temple. Christians saw this as a demonic ritual of their meals. The ritual they performed mimicked death and birth. It was only men, including soldiers, traders, merchants, and freedmen.
Mithra was the god of the Aryan tribes. The Temple of Mithras was built on the banks of Walbrook Stream and was an all-male cult. They had to keep their practices a secret. They Romanized the Persian god Mithras. The temple was built out of stone from Kent and clay bricks. It was made to resemble the mythical cave where Mithras killed the bull. It was a religious movement that started during the rise of Christianity.
The cult started in Rome by Roman soldiers and quickly spread through Europe to Britain in 100 AD. It was a sunken rectangular temple with a rounded appeased end. It was a windowless, dark, damp, and smelly. There were 2 aisles and an altar. The main doorway was on the opposite side of the appease, creating a central path through the temple.
Great, now that we've got some information on Mithras, let's go back to Jamie in the studio.
Oh, look at that. I fixed the time machine.
Let's go back to the 50s when they excavated the temple to see what they found.
To the time machine! Oh! Nice outfits.
Yes, indeed. It was 1954 when the Temple of Mithras in London was first discovered by Professor F.W. Grimes and Audrey Williams. It started because Victoria Street needed to be excavated after World War II.
That's so boss.
Yes, no one knew that there was a temple underneath the city. The excavations were hastily conducted, and only on the last day was the head of our pal Mithras discovered, and then did the people know who the temple belonged to.
Whoa, that's like crazy.
I know! Pine cones, incense, and hallucinogens were found.
Pine cones?
That gave insight into the practices, as well as 405 wooden writing tablets that were found, of which 87 could be deciphered.
In 1962, the temple was going to be destroyed. The press and the public convinced them to keep this precious monument of history. This resulted in the temple being moved 100 meters away.
In 2010, Bloomsburg got the original building and reconstructed the temple and brought it back to its home. To remake the temple, they mixed special mortars and worked off the images and pictures from when it was first discovered. They remade 7 columns, which represent the 7 levels of promotion of the cult. The original columns were not there and were probably sold off by another Roman cult or went missing when the temple was remodeled.
Let's go farther back in time to experience it in person. To the time machine! Hello!
Here in the Temple of Mithraeum, look at our traditional Celtic clothing.
We'll need to go through the 7 steps. The first step is Crokes, then Nymphus, next is Miles, followed by Leo, 5th is Perseus, then Hydromolis, finally Pater. If we can go through all the steps, we will eventually make it to the top of the column.
First, you will need to be baptized under the watching of Mercury. This will symbolize the death of your mortal soul. You will then be reborn into your spiritual path. Now y'all will go and get baptized.
Jamie, this is amazing. You should come see this.
Okay, I'll take the spare time machine.
Woo!
To the Mithraeum in London. Whoa!
Now we can play with some rubber duckies.
No, this is where you get baptized. Now y'all will submerge your faces in the water.
We'll be right back after these short messages.
Trouble with having wet hair?
Oh
Y'all are in luck because I have a product for you. This one-of-a-kind hair dryer makes your hair dry in minutes. Wow! Now back to the show.
no! Anyways, What do we do next?
We will put some veils on. Also, all of us will take a lamp. This next step, guided by the goddess Venus, represents the potential you have to grow, as this step, nymphus, means bee chrysalis. The translation makes sense, as in later levels you will perform with honey.
Gotcha. What do we do next?
We will remove our veils, which signifies that we have seen the light of truth. Now that our veil of reality is removed... now that our veil of reality is removed, we have seen the light of truth.
Oh yes, I remember this part. We are the brides of Mithras, as we have vowed to this religion.
Good job. Now we will offer a cup of water to show our love. Time for the next step.
Viewer discretion is advised. Due to nudity involved in the next step, it will not be shown.
Whew, that was rough.
It was quite chilly.
For the fourth step, the lion step, we will be guarded by Jupiter. We now take this plate of food and carry it up to the altar. We will also growl, as that's how they did it in ancient times. Most people never made it past this step, but hopefully we will. Roar!
This is the first initiation of the senior degree. We will then tend to the flames. Ouchies! I burned myself!
Here's some honey.
What will that do?
I don't know. It's what they did in ancient times.
No thanks.
Don't worry, I have burn cream.
Yay. Y'all, this step is finished. We are officially lions.
Roar!
And this is our cue to start the next step.
I know the next step is becoming a Persis. Persis means Persian, and this step is under the rule of the moon. This step is important because the historical Perseus was the son of Mithras. This step signifies moving up in the cult.
Yep, that sounds about right. Look, we will now be handed over a harp, a carved sword. Why, thank you. By being given a sword, it represents Perseus decapitating the Gorgon, and how the member being initiated is destroying their lower aspects and traits. But first, we must purify our hands with honey.
Look, I'm dying.
No, you're not. Come on. Now for the next step, we will become heliodromes, or sun runners.
Ew! Running!
No, we get to eat during the sixth initiation step, and don't actually have to run.
Oh, good, because I don't like running. Ever.
This step is under the influence of the sun. During this banquet, we will represent the sun while we sit next to the statue of Mithras. We're now dressed in red, just like they did in ancient times.
We just finished the sixth step. We're almost done.
Yup, that step was pretty easy compared to some of the others.
I agree. The final level is pater, which means father.
You know who was a great father and an even better banker? Caecilius!
Jamie, focus.
No.
For the final, highest level, we will be guided by Saturn. As a pater, we will be the earthly representation of Mithras and the teachers of our congregation. The pater patrum, the father of fathers, will hand us our pater outfits.
Would you look at that? We've been initiated into the Roman cult of Mithras.
Although we reenacted all the initiation steps on this episode, we as females would never be allowed to take part in this cult in ancient Roman times.
Now that we have climbed up all the levels, we are going to experience a sacrifice. Bring in the female bull.
That would be a cow. Do you
Oh.
mean a regular bull?
Yeah, sorry.
Anyways, speaking of bull sacrifices, all temples dedicated to Mithras accept at least one carving of the tachonomy.
The Tarakami is when Mithras is sacrificing a bull. It is believed that from the bull's death sprang new life.
Each temple has different variations on the sacrifice, but they all share the same basic story.
That Mithras hunted, rode, and overwhelmed the bull's strength. Then he carried the bull into a tavern. Outside the cavern is Sol the sun with his flaming crown, and a ray of light reaches down to touch Mithras. Luna is also there with her crescent moon.
Mithras kneels over the exhausted bull, left hand holding its nostrils and right hand stabbing it. A dog and snake reach up towards the blood. A scorpion seizes the bull's genitals. 2 torch bearers stand on each side of the Mithras, 1 torch upright and 1 pointing down. We will now do a reenactment of the ceremony. I think it's time to go back home.
Yeah, by now we probably have earned our 100.
To the time machine!
We learned a lot this episode. We got to go through all the levels of the cult.
We also experienced a sacrifice.
Thank you for watching us on our adventure through time and hope you've enjoyed it.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Into the practices, as well as 405 wooden writing tablets that could be found, of which 87 were to chipper.
Sam, spit up.
Three, two,
Wait, guys,
one.
we all have to be in the scene.
Yeet.
And with toothpaste.
Oh!
We're now just in red, just
No,
like they
shut up. Hold on. We just finished the 6th step. We're almost done.
No, but we have to do this to finish it.
No?
Yeah, this is the step.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, guys.
Did you already?
Now we have to eat.
Time for the next step.
Oh, I wasn't in it.
It's okay. No!
Hey,
No!
what's it called? What's it
Oh
called?
my goodness,
PewDiePie! I love PewDiePie so much!
Wait, what's it
Oh
called?
my god!
No, just
What's
like,
the video called?
we'll watch it later.
Whatever it was.